Hey everyone, this is Nate with My Liberty Homestead, coming at you today with another video about fermentation. So we're going to start part 2 of our small series about fermentation, how to make fermentation easy, and so you can jump right in with it right along with me and with everyone else and feel comfortable making ferments in your home every day and trying to incorporate them every day into your life, into your meals. Like I said, later on we're going to start doing some condiments, we're going to do some fermented salsa. A lot of those are great. I love making fermented hot sauce and fermented salsa. Those are great with chips, and the salsa is good with just about anything. You can pair it with eggs or anything. So what we're going to do today is sauerkraut. We're going to make fresh sauerkraut, not sauerkraut like you're used to in the store in the bag section in the fridge. That's not sauerkraut. That's fake as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to teach you how to make the good stuff. So if you can use a knife and a cutting board, you can make sauerkraut. And if you have a kraut slicer, it's even easier. I don't have one. I plan to get one. They're a great addition to any kitchen, especially if you're going to do a lot of fermentation. That's a great one to get. They're not terribly expensive, but we're going to get right into it. If you have a knife and a cutting board, some salt, that's all you need, along with a head of cabbage. So I'll see you at the next step. Hey guys, just an aside here. You guys are probably thinking why I'm using so much pink Himalayan salt. So I wanted to show you the company that I use a lot and who I really like. I actually got this off of Amazon. This is their 20-pound package of pink salt or pink Himalayan salt. I really like it. I don't even use iodized table salt. Pink Himalayan salt has a lot of extra nutrients and minerals that you can't get in regular table salt. So I use it exclusively in all my foods and my ferments and everything I have. This is the fine grain. I'd recommend getting the extra fine. That way it's a little closer to regular table salt. But I just figure I'd show you guys. I really recommend this salt. I've been using it for a long time. And if you ferment as much as I do, or if you make jerky or any of that kind of stuff, you go through it pretty quick. Alright, so here we have all of our needed tools. One thing you really should get your hands on if you don't have, you can make do with like a small potato masher or even something with a wooden handle. This is actually called a kraut masher or a pastry press, I believe they call it. Couple different names, has a rounded end on top and a flat end there on bottom. But this is great for getting the kraut down inside any container you choose, whether it be a crock or a mason jar. Whatever you have. Yet again, I'm back at it again with the plastic wide mouth lids and a standard wide mouth jar. They're real easy to work with and to store all your ferments in. So to get started, you have your head of cabbage here. So you're just going to pull the bad leaves off. Sometimes it's a layer or two. Sometimes it's a couple more, depending if you have bug damage. This one actually came out of my garden. And I think I left it on just a little long. So we'll pull a couple layers off. And I think we should be good. Yeah, looks like it. So cut the end off and cut into quarters. It's a lot easier to get the quarters. And what you want to get out is the core right there. So you'll just cut on either side and just cut straight off of that and get that hard piece out, because that's no good. You don't want to eat that. You can, it'd just be real hard and hard to chew. So all you're going to do is just cut in real thin strips and just go the whole way down. I like mine fairly thin. Make it as thin as you can make it. You'll be happy you did later. They're kind of chewy if they're real thick and hard to get down. And you'll bring it all back together and slice it yet again real thin. Nothing real hard or exciting here. Just make sure you get it a fairly uniform size. Like I said, the thinner the better. As you get back towards the end, stemmy end, you may need to give these a few more chops. Never hurts to try and thin it out just a little bit more. Alright, so we got 1/4 done, and we're going to get a bowl. Alright, sorry about that. Back with the bowl. So what you want to do, get all your kraut in, well, cabbage in, soon to be kraut. And you're going to want to layer it in like the last time here. And get your salt. And put a pretty fair amount on. The whole idea is to have the salt draw out the moisture, the water from the cabbage. Give it a shake or a stir, and do the same thing again, and then resalt. This kind of looks like it's pretty well covered. As you can probably see, it looks pretty salty, but you need this to be salty to pull the moisture out. There's going to be quite a bit of water, more than you think, that comes out of this cabbage. And you'll keep going, cut the rest, and layer it in. Alright, so we sliced up another quarter. Same thing as before. Put your kraut or cabbage in, and you're going to want to resalt and stir real well. And salt again. You ideally want everything to be covered in an even coat. And resalt. Like I said, it may look like you're putting too much on, but at the point where you think it might be too salty is probably right where you need to be. Looks like I need a bigger bowl. Alright, so we're back with a bigger bowl. Make sure you get a bigger bowl to start with. You'll be happier. It's easier to get the salt more evenly spread out onto the cabbage. This was the last quarter, so that's the end of that. And you're going to want to salt this layer too. And get it in. I've always had good luck with just going by look, see if it looks too salty or not salty enough. I'm going to stir it up pretty evenly. You can always add more. It's hard to take it away, so you could, if you're worried about that, add some and then maybe take a little, or give it a break, and then if it looks like it needs more. Your key is it needs to start looking wet, as if it was wet right out of the sink. You should be pulling water out of it. If you can see, there is water in the bottom of that, and these look like they're wet. I'm not sure if you can see, and like I said, you can see that there's water already pooling in the bottom of this bowl, and that's exactly what you want. And you may need to salt a little more. As we discussed in the radish video, you'd rather be a little saltier than not salty enough, because you need to have enough salt to fend off the bad bacteria. So give that a good stir, and we'll come back and check on it in a few minutes here. Thought I'd give you guys a little better close-up of what this should look like. As you can see, it actually looks like it's wet, and that's exactly what you want. You can see the water in the bottom. The salt's going to pull the water out of the cabbage, and that's exactly what you want. So if you're seeing that, you're looking good. All right, so we waited about, this has been 6 or 7 minutes in. As you can tell, this already looks wet. So it's like you just rinsed it off, and that's the texture, the consistency that you're looking for. As you can see, there's quite a bit of water on the bottom of that. Let's see if there's anything in the bottom of this. Yeah. You can see it's actually pulling away. And that's exactly what you want when you make sauerkraut. You want to try and pull the water out of the cabbage. So we're going to let this sit for a few more minutes. Give it a good stir. Move all that salt around. And we'll leave it sit for another 10 minutes or so. Okay, so we let our cabbage, our salted cabbage, sit for, it's been 15-20 minutes now. So because we're going to be using a mason jar, if you get your canning funnel out, and we'll dump this all right in and get the water pressed out. Now you also don't want to do it all at one time, so I'd recommend doing maybe half. Now this will press down pretty firmly. Alright, so from a different angle so you guys can see what you're actually going to do is get in there and actually press this down. And you may be able to see at the bottom of that container, see the water rising up. So you want to get this pressed down, and you're going to press on it pretty good. You should see it start to come up to the level of the kraut. So you want to keep mashing. Get this pushed down and nice and squished. Alright, so we got the rest of our sauerkraut into the jar, and as you can see, as you push on it, the water level keeps rising up. Now you can see, now if you have an older cabbage, you may not be able to get all that water out, depending on how fresh it is, if you bought it at the store, if you got it at the farmer's market, wherever you got it. You just want to keep jamming this down, and that water is going to rise right above it. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, you're doing great. That's exactly what you want. You want the water to sit right above the cabbage. You want to keep pushing this down. Try and pull out as much water as you can. Right now, as you can see, the water is right there. So because we're doing this in a mason jar, what would normally be done is they would use a crock and put a weight right on top of the cabbage, and that would actually press it down. Now, because we don't have one, we're going to go ahead and put a lid on this mason jar, and we're going to come back and check it 2 times a day, 3 times a day, and make this real easy. Come back and check it a couple times a day, and just press the water down. You can use the cabbage masher or the kraut masher, or anything you have, and just try and keep the water level above the cabbage. You may even find later in the fermentation you need to add a little bit of water, especially if you have a dry cabbage. Don't be afraid of doing so. You're not going to hurt the fermentation for adding a little bit of water to it to make sure it doesn't go bad. So keep an eye on it, keep the water level above the cabbage, and same thing here. In a few days it should be ready to eat. Some people like it real crisp and fresh. Some people like it a little less fresh and kind of mushy. And the texture is all up to you, and the flavor. So that's completely up to you. So we'll see you next week. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Really appreciate everything, and please let me know what you think below, and check out my blog as well. Thank you.